What's up, bitches? It's Nacho. I mean, Ian, coach here of your Ladner Lanturn. Bringing you guys our Week 11 team builder to take on Hayden and the Pittsburgh Piplups in the NCL. Good lord, my music won't work properly. Hayden is a strong opponent. We're both 6-4. This is an important match for both of us because we can both clinch. No, I can't, but he can if he beats me. I cannot clinch based on this match, but it would be very helpful to me if I won this game in terms of my clinching. I'm not super worried because of my week 12, but it would be very important to win this game, and if I don't, then I'm in a bad spot. So, yeah, Hayden's team consists of the Latios, Rotom Wash, Crocodile, Porygon 2, Ditto, Girder, Megabeedrill, Blacephalon, Florges, Metagross, and Zebstrika. Priority options in Girder with Mach Punch, Metagross with Bullet Punch, Hazard setting in Crocodile with Rocks, Megabeedrill with Toxic Spikes, and Metagross with Rocks. Removal options in Latios with Defog, Rotom with Defog, Beedrill with Defog, and Florges with Defog. No 4x weaknesses to speak of. I'm not expecting Ditto, Girder, or Zebstrika. Everything else is on the table. I don't think Ditto would come just because my setup options aren't that threatening to him. Excuse me, like he has ways to deal with setup options on my team anyways. So a Ditto doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to copy stuff unless he's trying to scout sets, and honestly, if Ditto comes, I will be a little bit happy, because that means that something else scary isn't coming. Girder, again, I'm not really sold on Girder. I think Megalodios kind of just... Megalodios plus Torn just means that Girder doesn't show up to me. If it does come, it's there to revenge kill my Diggersby and my Rotom, and that's like it. So, there you go. Zebstrika is a very weak electric type. Although it is fast, it doesn't have the best base stats. I believe base 100 attack is its best offensive stat, so I'm not sold on Zebstrika either. But that is something I could see going down. I don't think it comes necessarily just because Rotom Frost doesn't really have a great matchup against him, so if he brings the Zebstrika, it would really be as an electric immunity to Rotom Frost, or if he's really scared of Whimsicott, he could bring a grass immunity to Zebstrika and beat my Whimsicott there. So that's sort of what I'm thinking. Latios is a huge threat. Megabeedrill is a massive threat. Crocodile is a meh threat. Blacephalon's a meh threat, and Metagross is a big threat. Florges and Porygon 2 and Rotom Wash sort of form a really nice defensive walling team against my team. Specifically the Florges and the Porygon 2 in particular, and the Rotom Frost is just kind of a big pain in the ass, especially if it gets Wish Passes into it. I probably just FF. Up first is Tornadus-T, dedicated lead Torn T with Focus Sash. I can eat a hit from the Megabeedrill and kill it with Air Slash every single time. U-turn to get the hell out of there. Knockoff for Porygon 2, I believe, is the only reason. Although I can hit the Metagross with something. Toxic because, as you'll note in a second, I'm running Toxic Spam against this team. For the Porygon 2, the Florges, and the Rotom Wash. I can really just Toxic. I would imagine the Rotom coming in, or the Florges, or the P2. It really doesn't matter what I Toxic, as long as it's not the Girder. But Toxic Spam works really well against him, and if he brings in the Metagross, I get to knock off or U-turn out. Probably U-turn, because I would not want to proc a weakness policy on that thing without being able to kill it. Air Slash, again, is just there for the Beedrill. Enough speed on here for Zebstrika, and then max HP for a bulkier variant, especially with Sash, and a little bit of offensive pressure with a tiny bit of special attack investment. I'm running Hasty so that I don't lose out on the damage on U-turn and knockoff. Bronzong's up next, bringing a Bronzong with Colbur. It lets me eat a knockoff from the Crocodile and get a Signal Beam on it, or it lets me eat a knockoff from the Megabeedrill and get a huge Gyro Ball off on it. I thought about Kasib for the Blacephalon and the Latios. I didn't really see what I was doing back to the Blacephalon without Earthquake, and I didn't really feel like teching on Earthquake this week because I thought Signal Beam would hit a little bit better. It's going to hit the Latios and the Crocodile just fine, and it'll be able to hit the Metagross for neutral damage. Hit a lot of stuff for neutral damage, actually, but realistically the Crocodile is what I wanted it for. Usually a way to hit the Crocodile back after I eat the Colbur Berry. Rocks are pretty important against his team, and he doesn't... I want to put him in a spot where he can't defog against me either. That'd be ideal. He's going to get a lot of free defog time against the team that I'm bringing, though, so we'll see about that. Yeah, Toxic Spam looks pretty good here, but despite the Florges, especially once we get to the Entei, I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail. Just fully spit F, that's really all it is. Bronzong is fully spit F. I can eat Psychic hits and Dragon hits from the Latios. I eat hits from the Florges for days. I can eat a Rotom hit, Toxic it back. Porygon 2 doesn't really match up against me, except a sub variant on Porygon 2 would be very annoying, and then Zipstrika can't do a whole lot back to me either. Mega Latios, just ring Roost 3 attacks Mega Latios this week. Max HP, max speed. Speed tying with his Latios. I don't really... would love to run a little bit more of an offensive Mega Latios this week, but unfortunately it has to be max HP to live a U-turn from Mega Beedrill. I'm pretty sure I lived the U-turn from Mega Beedrill. I live Adamant Mega Beedrill U-turn, I think. Let me double check while I'm here, and I'll sort of talk a little bit about the set while I'm checking that. Psyshock is there for the Mega Beedrill mainly, but it'll also hit the Florges really well. Draco Meteor for his Latios, and it's just kind of a big... this is Latios, I want Latios. It's just kind of a big threat, honestly. How can Latios Mega Beam Male? That makes no sense. Oh well. Beedrill, offensive pivot, Adamant though. Yep, I can live Adamant Mega Beedrill 25% of the time with max HP. So let's just take out the foreign defense actually. Shouldn't change the... Oh, it does change the roll significantly actually. 31.3% of the time I die. And then I live the other percentage of the time, and Psyshock blows it back. That is from U-turn, so Fellstinger, if he's a Fellstinger variant, won't kill me, and I'll be able to Psyshock it. Although, actually, how much damage is Fellstinger doing to me? 62 to 74. That's a lot of damage. Good lord. Mega Beedrill has a really good matchup against my team, so I'm pretty worried about it. Ice Beam is there to hit the Crocodile. That's realistically what the Ice Beam is there for, and that's pretty much it, actually. If I don't want the drops against the Latios, I'd click Ice Beam against that too. And that's the Mega Latios. Entei, I'm bringing a very whack Entei set. You guys know me for my whack Entei sets, my juiced Entei sets, as one might say. Sub Toxic Protect, which is really annoying for him, especially Entei, because his best switch into Entei is like Rotom Wash or Ditto, and if I can sub, then his Ditto switch means nothing. And if I catch the Rotom Wash, I get a sub, I get a Toxic off, I get to stall it out with a little bit of protecting there and just whittling it down. Ideal scenario for me is that happens. Blacephalon's on a switch in. Blacephalon gets 2-shot by Sacred Fire. I don't care about Blacephalon with this Entei. Sacred Fire is still going to blow through the Mega Beedrill. His only switch-ins to Toxic are Metagross and Mega Beedrill. And Sacred Fire beats both of them. So there's kind of like no downside to this Entei set this week, besides the fact that he's got a lot of stuff that outruns it. So in terms of our speed investment, we're outrunning the Crocodile with our speed investment so that we can get a Toxic off on that, or a Sacred Fire Burn would be ideal against a Crocodile, actually. That'd be huge if I was still running the same Diancie set that I had planned on, which I'll talk about at the end. Max attack, a little bit of HP. Whimsicott's next. I replaced Diancie with Whimsicott just because it helped me out a little bit better against a Calm Mind Latios, as well as the Rotom Wash, which I still had lots of problems beating, especially with 4 Mons weak to Rotom Wash's stab. It was way too much of a problem. So now I have a resist to dual stab, and that's very helpful. Encore Moonblast, Giga Drain, Leech Seed. Excuse me. I can Encore the Latios into Calm Mind. I can Encore the P2 into Recover, get a knockoff or something. I can Encore the Florges into Wish. Tons of useful options there. Leech Seed just for some recovery for my team, which would be ideal. Obviously, the Torn and the Mega Latios can recover, and Entei has lefties, but Leech Seed in general is just a very useful utility move against him when he doesn't have a Grass type and only has the Zipstrika. Giga Drain for the Rotom Wash, and then Moonblast for a lot of his team. I'm speed tying with Zipstrika, and Moonblast does 2-shot it, I believe, from Timid, Max Special Attack, Life Orb. And that's sort of the idea behind the Whimsicott set there. And then last but not least is Diggersby, bringing a Silk Scarf Agility Diggersby, so no Scarfer this week. Diggersby was originally Scarfed with U-turn and knockoff over Quick Attack and Agility. Enough speed on the Diggersby so that I am outspeeding Scarf Crocodile after an Agility. That's the ideal scenario that I can get up to that point. Silk Scarf, Adamant Quick Attack is doing like 75 to 86% to the Mega Beedrill. So after 1 round of rocks, Mega Beedrill dies to a Silk Scarf Quick Attack. Does a lot of damage to a lot of stuff. Return, Silk Scarf boosted return just hits like a truck. His normal resists and immunities are the Metagross and the Blacephalon, both of which get blown back by Earthquake. This has a very good matchup, very, very, very strong matchup this week, although the P2 is still very annoying. And I would have loved to have a little bit more pivoting going on with the U-turn there, but at the very least, we've got the Torn this week. Okay, in terms of what I didn't bring, Conk. Conk looked good-ish. So the problem is, right, we'll talk about Conk and Pangoro in the same sentence, really. Because fighting is the best way to check the Crocodile. It's the best way to check the Porygon 2. However, then you see that there's a Latios, you see there's a Mega Beedrill, you see there's a Florges, and you see there's a Blacephalon, and all of a sudden fighting doesn't look that good. So I was considering an AV Kinkeldor, I was considering a physically defensive Kinkeldor to be able to check the Mega Beedrill a tiny bit and then kill it with Fire Punch or something. I was considering a banded Kinkeldor with like Poison Jab, Knockoff, Thunder Punch, Drain Punch kind of thing. I wasn't floating my boat. I was considering a Mach Punch variant to be able to revenge kill the Crocodile, but then Blacephalon just comes in for free on it, and it was really weird. Pangoro, same thing. It kind of walled the Blacephalon a little bit, but it was weak to the Florges. Really weak to the Florges. It doesn't get Pursuit for the Mega Latios, regular Latios, sorry, which really sucks. It was able to deal with the Metagross, but then at the same time, it wasn't able to deal with like Rotom Wash burning it. Wasn't really able to deal with the P2 despite getting knockoff. Wasn't really able to deal with the Girder, which actually was kind of a problem for it. So it was just too many negatives for me bringing the fighting types, honestly. Otherwise, I really would have loved to bring them against the P2 team. Tentacruel just has a lot of downsides this matchup. A lot of downsides. It's kind of just free momentum for Mega Beedrill if I switch it on that, and it's a free Drill Run for the Mega Beedrill, although I do think he has to run Drill Run this week, which takes a slot away from potentially Knockoff or Fellstinger. What else did Tentacruel do? Oh, it's a free Scarf Crocodile Moxie boost, which I'm not okay with. The main idea of bringing Tentacruel would be to wall Blacephalon, but it can't wall the regular Latios, and I don't really want multiple special walls for multiple threats. That doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. And Metagross kind of just set up an agility on it for free, which is really annoying. And then I thought about a T-Spike variant, but he's obviously going to bring a Mega Beedrill, so the T-Spikes are worthless there. And I'd rather Toxic his Mons instead of just regular poison them. So that was Tentacruel. Rotom Frost was alright. Not great, but alright. Just because, you know, Rotom Frost doesn't really have answers, given that Electric is only immune by ground and resisted by grass, and his own electric, which is neutral. His own electric is neutral to electric. So Rotom Frost, it doesn't really have issues dealing with his team in terms of offensively dealing with his team, but it just doesn't pump out the damage necessary for this, and a Subtoxic variant on Rotom Frost probably would have been what I had to go with. Subtoxic Pain Split or something, I don't know what I would have gone with there, but that was kind of what I was anticipating, or maybe a Scarf variant, which could outrun the Mega Beedrill potentially. Diancie, let's talk about Diancie now, this last Diancie here. I was originally bringing a Weakness Policy Diancie, Neutral Nature Weakness Policy Diancie, Mixed Attacker with a Rock Polish, and it was going to be a Flame set. It offensively checked a lot of this team, but it couldn't cut it. Unfortunately, the damage output just wasn't enough, even after the Weakness Policy boost, and it relied on getting Weakness Policy in a very risky way. Like Crocodile Earthquake does a crap load, in fact can OHKO it depending on the Crocodile set. You know, Surf from Latios or something like that. I don't know if he would actually want to run Surf on his Latios against me. I'm not entirely sure about that. It like still got 2-shot by Mega Beedrill Poison Jab, and I couldn't outspeed Mega Beedrill after a Rock Polish. It was very, and like Bullet Punch from Metagross just sort of threatened it every single time. It was very situational, and it couldn't eat a Hydro Pump from Rotom Wash. A lot of problems with that Diancie set, so we just scrapped it and went with the Whimsicott. That's gonna be it for me. That's the team. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys for the match.